Justin, what does it say about your team to come back from a 17-point deficit and win the way you did tonight?
We got a resilient team. You know, it's kind of like the story of Xavier, really. You know, never can count us out. You know, always got a next play mentality, and we just never quit. You know, it's the resemblance of Coach Mack. He has the same attitude in practice every day. If he doesn't like something, we're gonna keep going again. So, you know, Georgetown's a tough team to defend, but I just love my team. We stuck with it and came out on top.
This is for anybody. Can someone address the defensive intensity in the second half as compared to the first?
I mean, I would really say that, you know, when we got into the locker room, we really basically took a long, hard look in the mirror. And, you know, that's not the team that we are. You know, the first half we were totally lackadaisical. And, you know, Coach Mack let us know that we needed to pick it up. And, you know, we did it for each other. You know, I love my brothers, and every time I went out there, I was diving on the floor, anything. It was all for my brothers, and because I know they would do the same for me.
Technically, though, can somebody say, did you get out more on the threes? Were you much more aware of the threes than you were in the first half?
Yeah, I think the second half we were just more tighter. I think the first half they had us like kind of spread it out. We weren't really in our gaps and defending how we usually do. I think the second half we kind of became a team and got more tighter and was talking more. That was the main thing he said in the locker room. We need to talk and be a team.
Yeah, with the Princeton offense, so many actions, so much movement going on at times, you know, at any given time. So, like Semaj said, we just came out with the focus of staying tighter, and we always try to limit teams to one rebound, and that makes it easier for us.
Isaiah, can you speak to the team's physicality, and then also talk about when you went down there, you know, what happened? You hurt your knee?
I mean, when it comes to the game, you know, when you're playing Georgetown, you know, you're playing a very physical team. So, you know, we just had to come together and be stronger, be tougher, you know, mentally and physically. Do all the little things so we can get an edge, like boxing out. If you don't box out, they're gonna get plenty of offensive rebounds. They always go to the glass. You know, you just gotta make sure that you're in the right position and, you know, at the right time. When it comes to my knee, I mean, I just tweaked it a little bit. Got more scared than anything. That's it.
Dee, did you at all get a sense of when things maybe the momentum changed for you guys? Because you're down 17. Obviously, things weren't looking too good right then.
I mean, in the huddle, the coaches just told us to focus on one more at a time, and you know, the 3 awards it took for us to get back in the lead, that's all we did was focus on that one more at a time, and just winning that award meant a lot.
Was Coach Mack, first of all, did he peel a little paint at halftime, and was he more upset with your effort or with your technique, so to speak, defending?
Oh yeah, he definitely got into us at half, and he was definitely more worried about. My fault.
Oh, go ahead, bro.
He was definitely more worried about effort. You know, he said, you know, and I quote, "I can't coach effort," so that put all the onus on us to come out with better intensity and be more disciplined on defense, and it all goes back to being a tight defense and not getting spread out.
And, you know, after that, Coach Carter came over to us, and, you know, he just told us to go out there and have fun. We were looking like we weren't having fun, and we weren't, you know, being the team that we always were. And he said, you know, it was painful to watch. So we need to just get it together and play like we normally play on offense and on defense.
Yeah, actually, Semaj, you went out with the 4th foul. I think you guys were down by 6 at that point, but the roll just kept going. Does that again just kind of talk about how deep you guys are and what a total team you guys are?
Yeah, it's always a great feeling when I know I can go out or somebody go out. We got another teammate that can step in and take over or help us out in the game. So that's always a great feeling.
You don't have to be well versed in basketball to know that. I mean, we were getting our heads handed to us on a platter in the first half, and in the second half, I was really proud of our kids for really responding a couple of times. You know, we came out, scored the first 7 points of the half, and looks like the momentum's back in our favor, and they quickly, you know, bang in a couple threes, and next thing you know, the deficit's even greater than it was. For us to be able to take that second punch, so to speak, in the second half, and then respond down the stretch, I was proud of our kids. But you know, we have to play better, longer. We have to be ready from the start. And but again, I don't want to take away from what I thought was a great effort down the stretch from our kids. But you know, championship teams, really good teams, they don't have lulls. They don't sort of dip their toe in the pool to figure out, you know, what kind of game this is going to be. And I thought we did that. But you know, there are two teams. There are scholarship players on both sides, and they have some very, very talented players who stepped up tonight, especially early on.
Chris, what were you able to draw out of the team at halftime to really have them coming back playing in a different way in the second half?
I don't think it was, you know, what I drew out of them. I think they responded as competitive kids. I just wasn't happy with our effort. And as a coach, you know, last thing you really want to do is coach effort. You know, you want to demand it, but you don't want to coach it. You want to try to figure out why a flare screen's hurting us or why an underneath out of bounds, you know, play keeps blowing up. You want to coach those things rather than effort, and I thought we had to coach too much effort in the first half, and I told our team that, and the response was much different in the second half.
Beyond that stuff, Chris, what were the technical things that you had them do in the second half that kept Georgetown from getting those open looks from three especially?
Well, I thought, number one, you know, we're having difficulty, which is very frustrating because we've been working on it from day one and we pride ourselves in this, but we've had difficulty keeping teams from shooting threes in transition. You know, our bigs are running down into the lane and then trying to find their matchup. It's like they're playing tag team wrestling. It's like, okay, I got my man now, guard, you can go find yours. And you can't play that way when you have teams like a Creighton, like a Georgetown, who have 3 or 4 guys out there that can spread the floor. That's where I think technically we did a much better job in the last 15 minutes. I thought our blocking out got much better. In the first half, our blockouts were non-existent. In the second half, sometimes they were existent. And then we were able to get Georgetown out of their zone. The zone crushed us in the first half. Although we got what I felt like were pretty good looks, we got the ball to the foul line. We played through Matt, through Semaj at the foul line. We got decent looks, but we didn't make any of them, whether they were around the basket, whether they were, you know, kick-out threes. And so we didn't score on, I think, 13 of our last 16 possessions of the half. In the second half, we were able to get some stops, you know, get some looks in transition. It's obviously harder to play zone while you're trying to figure out where you need to be in that zone. And then we finally got them out of man because we started to have some success against zone. I think we're a little bit better equipped. We're more used to playing against man, like most teams, and we executed down the stretch.
This is a new league. You've played Georgetown twice in the last, I don't know how many, long time. What does your team draw from a game in mid-January that it can use 6 weeks from now?
Well, I hope that you know, we've been a team that have played these type of slugfests, and you know, they've been one-possession games going into the final 4 minutes, and we've come up for the most part on the right end of those. You would think that could give you confidence that when you're playing close games, when it becomes, you know, win or go home, that we have an ability to execute down the stretch on both ends of the floor.
You ever remember being in part of a game like this, maybe even as a player, where you either trailed or you were ahead by, you know, double digits, and things seem to be really going one way, and all of a sudden momentum just switches? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, I've been. Maybe I'm just not the smartest guy in the world. I have amnesia because the only thing I think about is the game we're playing and then who we have next. So it's hard for me to just, you know, dial back in the Rolodex and say, this is the last time we played one of those games. But yeah, I mean, the momentum swing tonight was. It doesn't happen a whole lot. You know, I haven't had that type of feeling, I'll be honest, in a while.
Players suggested, actually I suggested, and they agreed that you peeled a little paint at halftime. Were you unusually vocal at halftime in your demands of them?
Well, we haven't been unusually this down. You know, and again, I go back to what I said before. and that is our effort just wasn't, what I'm used to, and I think what they're used to. And you can't cool your way through a game against Georgetown.
Cool your way.
Yeah. I was going to say, by cool, what do you mean?
Just sort of like, hey, you score. Okay, we get to score. Hey, you get to score. All right, we get to score. I mean, all of a sudden, we didn't get to score, and then it became a problem. And I think that, trading baskets and the first play of the game, and I said it to Justin, he gets backdoored. I'm pretty sure the word backdoor is written about 50 times in the scouting report, and you got caught watching the paint dry on that one, and that's the first play of the game. So again, you have to be ready from the beginning, and I didn't think, and again, I hate putting in that context because then it's like, it's all on us. I mean, Georgetown's a really, really good team, great players, a great coach, and so, there's always two sides to the story. So I don't want to just act like it was all us.
Matt did a great job with assists tonight. Struggled in the paint though. Went 2 for 10. Can you just talk about that?
Yeah, he's got to finish better. He can't look over at the official when he misses a shot. They didn't blow the whistle, so you have to continue to play. He's got to finish better. He's been an excellent finisher all year. He shoots the highest percentage on our team from the floor. That's why we go to him. But again, when he had an off shooting night and the ball couldn't find its way in the hole, he makes the right pass. He still makes our team better. And that's what we love about him, because so many times a big guy that can score, if he doesn't score, he's got a bad assist turnover ratio. But that's not Matt.
Chris, is there something special about this group specifically that allows them to be just unflappable in these situations, whether it's someone getting off to a hot start or being down by 17 in the second half, or any situations they seem to just keep playing their game?
Well, we responded much better than we did a year ago, and I said we were a different team than we were a year ago. I think we learned a whole lot about ourselves. We didn't have that resilient belief in ourselves. We weren't a weathered group when we were down in the Bahamas, and it showed. So I'd like to think that we've grown from those experiences, but again, you're as good as your next contest, and we got one coming up on Monday.